guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my January TBR. Now I've got different categories for my TBR, so if you haven't watched my 2020 goals, it would have been the last video that was on my channel. I will link it up here for you, where I go into a bit more detail about what challenges I've picked for myself for this year. So you might want to go and watch that before you watch this video. But basically I'm going to go through all of the books that I've picked out for my January TBR. I'm going to continue doing TBRs in January. I just think it keeps me, or it has over the last few months, and it kept me nice and focused on those books that I really want to read. And I think because my TBR is now made up of, I can't speak, now made up of you know, the genres that I want to read a little bit more, you know, that I enjoy an awful lot more, I'm actually reading those books, whereas before when I was doing TBRs, yeah, I found it really difficult to get through stuff. So anyway, so first of all, the arcs that I'm going to be reading in the month of January, the first of which is Shelter Me by Kelly Collins. This is the second book in the Fraser Falls series, and this is coming out on the 2nd of January, being published by Book Nook Press. And I've read one Kelly Collins book before, and I'm currently reading the first book in this series, which is called Rescue Me, in anticipation. I'm not going to say an awful lot about what these books are about because I don't know an awful lot. I will say some stuff if I know some stuff, but otherwise we'll find out, and then you guys can see what they're about when I do my wrap up at the end of the month. So there's that one to begin with. Let's do these and try and do these in order of when they're coming out. The second book is another Kelly Collins book called A Tablespoon of Temptation. This is the first book in the Recipe for Love series, and it's coming out on the 6th of January. It's another contemporary romance book, but this is centred around food, which I really liked the idea of. I love books that are about food in some sort of way, so there's that one. Coming out on the 14th of January is Echoes Between Us by Katie McGarry. This is being published by Tor Teen, and I think this is some sort of YA contemporary book. Katie McGarry seems to be quite a popular YA author. I've never read anything by her before, but I really like the cover on this one. Then coming out on the 23rd of January is The Move by Felicity Everett. Those of you that saw my December TBR, this was on my December TBR because I thought it was coming out in December, but then when I went and checked the publication date on Amazon, it says it's coming out in January. So it's obviously been pushed back for some reason. So yeah, this is coming out on the 23rd of January and it's being published by HQ. And this, I think, is some sort of a domestic thriller, that kind of idea. And then lastly, being published on the 30th of January is the Bromance Book Club by Lyssa K. Adams. This is being published by Headline Eternal. This is another one where it sort of confused me as to when it's coming out, because some places said it was coming out in November. I think those places might have been published in November in America, but then I think it's being published in the UK in January. So I've had this one for quite a while and I wanted to put it on my TBR before, but then, like I said, because of sort of like this confusion with, well, from me anyway, about when it was being published, I sort of, yeah, put it off. But yeah, putting it on my January TBR. This is apparently about a book club with loads of guys in it. They read romance novels to try and sort of spice up their relationships, and it's about this one couple who are married. The female character wants to get divorced, but the male character wants to save the relationship, and he goes to this book club and reads romance novels to kind of try and fix his marriage, which I think is a lovely idea. And I've heard some really good things about it so far, so I'm looking forward to reading that. And then I have 2 backlist arcs, so obviously trying to get through as many backlist arcs as I can this year. And the first of which is Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. This came out on the 27th of January 2016, and it was published by Riverdale Avenue Books. And I remember at the time when it came out, there was a lot of buzz about it on YouTube, on BookTube I should say. So all I know about this is that it's about I think a lesbian character who lives in New York, and it's about that. I don't know. Anyway, there's that one. And then secondly, I've picked out Beartown by Fredrik Backman. This was published on the 3rd of May 2018 by Penguin, and this is a contemporary story set in Scandinavia. I can't remember where exactly, and it is about a hockey team, an ice hockey team I think, where the lead sort of star hockey player rapes the owner's daughter, and then it's about like the fallout of that and like different people in the town and things like that. I've heard amazing things about this book. I've not read it before because I read A Man Called Eva by Fredrik Backman a couple of years ago now, and I didn't really like it that much. So I've kind of been a bit reluctant to dive into some of his other stuff, but people have, like I said, absolutely raved about this one, and I think Krista from Books and Jams put it on her best of 2019 list, so again it made me really want to pick it up. So yeah, hopefully I will in January. And then my Romance-opoly books, I decided, because there are two ways that you can do Romance-opoly. You can just kind of do the squares in order, or you can roll dice and sort of see what you land on. So I decided to go with the rolling the dice option, and the first square that I rolled was Passion Place, which is to read an erotic BDSM novel. So yeah, this is going to be fun because I've never read anything like this before. So I decided to go for American Queen by Simone. This is book number 1 in the new Camelot trilogy, and I think this also focuses around a menage a trois. Is that how you say it? I think so. Yeah, and it's obviously about royalty, and it's Simone, who I've heard really good things about. We'll see. Second square that I rolled was the library square, which is like a free choice. So basically did one of my books off of my ARC TBR, which is The Tablespoon of Temptation. Just thought I'd double up with that one. And then third square was Lover's Lane, which was an LGBT set in college. I didn't have any books that I owned for this particular one, so I went for a Kindle Unlimited book, which is Top Secret by Sarina, Bowen and Elle, and I think this is a male-male relationship. And then I have a little list of 4 fun books, the first of which is Anne of Green Gables by Elle Montgomery. I can't remember the name of the channel that is doing, there's the read along of Anne of Green Gables going through 2020. So each month you read a different book in the series. I've got the first book in the series physically, but I do own a Kindle book with from what I know, all of the books in the series. So I'm planning on reading this physical copy in January, and then hopefully carrying on if I like it. It's quite chunky, it's little, the text is not particularly large. I think this is going to be really charming and endearing. I've wanted to read this for so long. What I will do is I will leave a link in the description box to the channels that did the read along for this. For the life of me, I can't remember what they are. I should have looked them up, I'm really sorry. But like I said, I will leave a link in the description box down below. I think this is going to be really charming and I'm looking forward to reading it. And then the second book I've got for fun is called Nate by Hart. This is book number 3 in the Stryker County Fire Department series. This is coming out on the 3rd of January, and I read the first 2 books in this series for the Kindle Unlimited readathon. They're really short novellas about different people in this fire department, and this one follows Nate. And I really like them, and then I followed her on Facebook, Hart, and then I saw that she had this one coming out in January, so I thought I would add it to my TBR and read the third one. And then the third book that I have on my TBR, and the last book, is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. This is a non-fiction book that I've put on several TBRs now, and I've been meaning to read for ages. But again, Krista had it on her best of 2019 list, and I know that she read it towards the end of the year. So yeah, this the subtitle of this is A Story of Justice and Redemption, and Bryan Stevenson is basically, is he a lawyer or an attorney? Yeah, he's a lawyer in the US who he helps people who are on death row and sort of in prison get sort of out of that because they've been wrongly convicted in some way. And obviously so this is about injustice in the justice system in the US, and yeah, about you know, sort of black people and how they're wrongly convicted and things like that. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do with this one is split it up and try to read a chapter or so a day or every couple of days. I try to get this on audio because I like listening to non-fiction, but I can't find the audiobook for this one, so I assume that when this was published maybe audiobooks weren't as popular, or this one just, you know, the publisher decided not to do one for this, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, that's the last one that's on my TBR. So there you go guys, they are all of the books that I plan on reading in January. So let's count them up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's not too bad. I would say an average month I read between 8 and 12 books. Yeah, maybe more like 8 or 10. So yeah, some of these are shorter than others. Some of them I've got to prioritise my arcs. I definitely got to prioritise. Yeah, and the Smuttathon is going to be happening at the beginning of January, and my TBR is going to be coming up for that next, so look out for that on my channel. So I'm also going to be reading a separate lot of books for that during the week, so you'll see that come up on my channel next. But yeah, I'm really excited about all of these books and getting started with my reading goals in 2020. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these? You know, what are you planning on picking up in January? If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.